Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through the noise and really zero in on the insights that matter to you. Today, we're diving headfirst into something that's, well, as old as language, but as new as AI translation. It's crucial in our connected world, obviously, and AI promises so much. But, can it really master the art? Or is there still a human element that's just irreplaceable? So, what we're doing today is setting the stage for this really compelling, real-world experiment. Our source material for this deep dive, it comes from a seasoned professional translator who basically decided to put today's most advanced AI to the test. A proper head-to-head competition, pitting 10 AI bots against each other on a pretty hefty translation task.
Exactly. And our mission, for you listening, is to really dissect those results. We'll look at how these AIs actually performed, highlight some surprising strengths, definitely some glaring weaknesses too, and maybe most importantly, figure out where human expertise still fits in, in this age of smart machines. It's all based on this translator's firsthand account.
Okay, so before we get into the shootout itself, let's understand the context.
All right.
What does our source consider the right way to translate, the legitimate way? They talk about a standard approach, sounds very meticulous, manual, moving sentence by sentence.
Yeah, very much so. Almost like a craftsperson, as you said. And that minimal help from machines bit, they're specific. They mentioned using software called Logoport back when they translated for the European Parliament. And this isn't like a click translate button for the whole document, no. It takes a Word doc, processes it sentence by sentence. It kind of magnifies each sentence in its own window, shows the original, copies it to a target pane, and the human translator just overwrites it. Direct control.
Ah, okay, so it's an aid, not an automation of the whole thing.
Precisely. It facilitates, it doesn't dictate the final translation. And the reason they champion this manual way, it's really core to their belief. They have this strong conviction that if you feed a whole chunk of text, a complete continuous text to any machine, it just leaves behind what they call the whiff of the machine.
A whiff of the machine. I like that. So, meaning it sounds...
Unnatural, yeah. Clunky, maybe too literal. Just low quality in the end. The idea is that you lose the flow, the idioms, the sort of natural rhythm of real language if the machine does it all.
Right. That makes sense. It's a strong case for the purist approach. But then reality hits, doesn't it? Despite believing so strongly in this careful, manual way, our source ran into a problem, a familiar one. They had to translate this Tolstoy-length blog post, huge thing, from Slovak to English, and they had almost no time.
Yeah, that classic preach water and drink wine situation they mentioned, the ideal versus the deadline.
Exactly.
And that Tolstoy-length description isn't just for show. I mean, think about it, translating a massive piece like that.
Yeah.
It's not just about volume, it's maintaining consistency, right? The tone, the voice, specific terms across the whole thing.
Yeah, especially with cultural stuff mixed in.
Exactly. Machines can really struggle with that kind of cohesion over long texts. They might get bits right, but the whole can feel fragmented or, well, inconsistent. So our source was facing this huge challenge: quality, coherence, and speed.
Okay, so faced with this impossible deadline, they did something different. They decided to lean into the tech they were skeptical about. They got help from, get this, no fewer than 10 different today's most advanced robots from various makers.
Wow, 10.
10. To basically flip this huge blog post from Slovak to English, a massive AI translation shootout.
Okay, so who is in the ring? Do we know the contenders?
We do. It's quite the lineup. You've got OpenAI's big guns, GPT-5 Thinking and GPT-4o, then from xAI, Grok 4 and Grok 3. Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4, they even gave it a second shot, apparently.
Interesting.
Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro, Meta's Llama 3.370B, and then 2 from DeepSeek V3 and DeepSeek R1.
So a real mix of the major players and some of the newer, maybe open source leaning ones too. Different architectures, different training data, a proper test.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, and it's super important. The translator didn't just press go and walk away. Far from it. After getting all these machine outputs back, they started this incredibly detailed post-processing phase. They conscientiously compared the bot's outputs against each other, not just picking one winner right
All right.
But then they went sentence by sentence, looking at all the translation options from the different bots, and manually created what they called an amalgamated version, kind of a best of mix.
Okay, wow. So they were really curating it.
Totally. And that's maybe the first big takeaway here, isn't it? Even with these top-tier AIs, you still need that human curation. It's essential, actually, especially if you want to combine the strengths of different machine outputs into something that actually flows and makes sense.
Yeah, stitching it all together.
The human eye, the linguistic know-how, That's what was needed to spot the best phrases from different AIs and
Yeah.
weave them into one high-quality piece.
Which sounds like a lot of work still.
Oh, definitely. They said this extra step, the comparison and amalgamation, it still took hours of work.
Hours.
Yep. But, and here's the practical upside, it was still faster overall. Faster than if they'd done the whole thing using their preferred standard sentence-by-sentence method.
Ah, I see. So the AI provided a significant speed boost, but it wasn't free. It came with this mandatory, intensive human editing afterward.
Exactly, not set it and forget it at all.
Right.
Which actually leads to another really interesting thing the author did. They called it their robots mastermind group. Kind of funny.
Huh. Okay, what's that?
Well, they explained that when they hit really tricky bits, problematic passages, difficult expressions, they'd basically consult this whole group of bots again.
So not just picking the best initial output, but using them collaboratively.
Yeah, exactly. Leveraging the sort of collective intelligence, if you like. So imagine maybe a Slovak idiom just sounds totally weird, translated literally into English.
Happens all the time.
Right. So they could ask multiple bots how they'd handle it, see the different approaches, the different nuances they capture, and then, using their own human judgment, craft the best, most natural-sounding English version based on those suggestions.
That's clever. So it raises that question, doesn't it? Is a collective AI brain better than just one?
It certainly seemed useful in this case for tackling those really specific, tough translation nuts.
Okay, so after all this work, the initial translations, the comparing, the amalgamating, the mastermind consulting, what were the results? How did the bots actually stack up? Were there any total duds?
Well, there was one they described as a good joke to round it off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was DeepSeek R1. Apparently, it just completely failed to understand what it was supposed to do, even after multiple tries.
So it just didn't really participate?
Pretty much. Didn't get the memo. But crucially, the source also noted that none of the other 9 actually flopped.
Oh, okay, so the rest were usable.
Usable as a starting point, yeah. Imperfect for sure.
Yeah.
But they all produced something coherent enough to work with.
That's actually pretty impressive for 9 out of 10. But
Hmm.
the big question, who won? Who got the medals in this translation Olympics?
Right, the podium. So, according to the translator's professional judgment, the gold medal went to GPT-5 thinking.
Okay.
But they described it as a photo finish, so it was close. Grok 4 took the silver, which is quite impressive.
And the bronze?
Surprisingly, GPT-4o,
Ah,
which is interesting because while it got bronze, the author also mentioned it made some serious faux pas, some notable errors.
huh. So even third place wasn't perfect. What about that GPT-4o? Any other insights there?
Actually, yeah, a really fascinating one. GPT-4o was the only bot that spontaneously added subheadings into the text.
Oh, really? Just decided to?
Just did it. Grok 4 apparently did it too, but only when explicitly asked. GPT-4o just took the initiative. And for this massive Tolstoy-length article, that turned out to be incredibly helpful for breaking it up, making it more readable.
I can imagine.
So much so that the author actually kept those AI-generated subheadings. They put them into the final versions, both the Slovak original and the English translation.
Wow. That's a great example of AI providing unexpected value, isn't it? Not just the core task, but enhancing the structure, too.
Exactly. Improving readability, structure.
Mm.
Sometimes those side benefits are just as useful, especially with long, dense content.
Okay, but let's circle back to the winner, GPT-5 thinking. You said photo finish, and even the bronze had issues. So was the gold medal output actually good to go?
Ah, no. And this is the crucial nuance, the fine print, like you said. Even the winning output from GPT-5 thinking was, and I quote, nowhere near flawless.
Nowhere near.
Nope. They found superb solutions that sound beautifully natural for many sentences, yes. But it also contained outright errors and unacceptable departures from the original Slovak.
Like what kind of errors? Misinterpretations.
Yeah, things like misinterpreting cultural idioms, maybe messing up complex grammar, or just phrasing things in a way that felt awkward or too literal to a native speaker's ear. It definitely wasn't publishable quality straight out of the machine.
Right. Which really brings us back to that other point the author made.
The more tin heads, the better point.
Exactly.
Yeah, that came through loud and clear. They found that quite often, other robots in the test, maybe the ones that came 5th or 6th overall, actually suggested the best wording for specific sentences or tricky passages.
Huh. So the overall winner wasn't always the winner on a micro level.
Precisely. Which just hammers home the value of cross-referencing, comparing outputs from multiple AIs. Don't just trust the best one blindly. It's about using the different strengths of various models to piece together the most accurate and natural result. It really shows where we are with AI. It's powerful, but guidance and aggregation by humans are still key.
Okay, so this is fascinating. The winner wasn't flawless, needed hours of human work, and often benefited from consulting the losers. What does this all mean then, big picture, if we connect this back? What's the main takeaway about AI's role in professional translation based on this huge shootout?
Well, the author synthesizes it really well, I think. Their core conclusion is basically this. Robots are not yet ready for translating complete continuous texts. If your goal is genuine high quality, that natural human sound,
The whiff of the machine is still there?
it's still there in those full, unedited machine translations. However, for partial questions, wrestling with a single difficult sentence, finding a better word for an obscure expression, generating alternative phrasings for that stuff, they are brilliant and irreplaceable assistants.
Okay, so great for specific problems, not for the whole job unsupervised.
That seems to be the verdict here. They're amazing tools for research, for brainstorming options, for tackling specific roadblocks for the human translator. And the bottom line they state is just crystal clear. And honestly, you could apply this to almost any field AI is touching. No matter how good the machines that help us with our work are, additional human review is still necessary.
Still necessary. Not just nice to have, but required.
Required for real quality and accuracy, yes. It's not about being a perfectionist. It's fundamental. The machine gives you the raw speed and bulk. The human brings the finesse, the cultural understanding, the final correctness.
And they really emphasized, didn't they, that this review isn't just a quick scan.
Not at all. They made a point of saying it can't be just formal, cursory, or quick.
Right.
It typically requires, again, hours of work to properly refine that machine output to a standard you'd actually want to publish or rely on.
So the machines speed up the first draft dramatically.
Hugely.
But that crucial final stage, the polishing, the error catching, ensuring it flows naturally, that still needs dedicated, focused human effort. That human touch remains indispensable for quality.
Absolutely.
So I think the key insight here for you listening is that AI isn't really replacing human translators, not in the way people sometimes imagine. Instead, it's fundamentally changing how the work gets done. It's less machine does the job for you and much more, here's an incredibly powerful tool that helps you do your job much faster, but you still need to be diligent. You still need to apply your expertise. That human oversight is critical.
Well said. And that leads to a final thought, maybe something provocative for you to consider. As these AI tools just get better and better across the board, where else in our lives or in our work are we going to find this kind of sweet spot, this balance between amazing machine assistance and absolutely essential human oversight? Think about, I don't know, legal work, medical diagnosis, complex coding, maybe even creative fields. Where is that line? And how does understanding this dynamic that it's often assistance, not replacement, change how you approach learning and working in this, well, increasingly AI-powered future? That's definitely something worth exploring.